Welcome to Crossroads. The Department of Government Efficiency, that's DOGE, they have now gained access to the documents and files and payments of USAID. And look, with this, the investigations are going into what the United States Agency for International Development has been funding, and it's now sparking a national debate. And also, the investigations into U.S. spending, they don't end there. Elon Musk, through the DOGE department, has also now gained access to the Treasury Department payment system and their data. And meanwhile, Trump has also signed an order to create the first ever U.S. sovereign wealth fund. It might even buy TikTok with it. Also, Trump's threats to have the U.S. retake control of the Panama Canal. Well, the threats seem to be working. Panama has now pulled out of the CCP's Belt and Road Initiative. I'll be talking about these topics and more today. Let's jump into it. Now, first off, folks, the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, under Elon Musk, well, it has gained access to USAID. And the investigations into what the United States Agency for International Development has been giving our money to is now sparking a very big debate. The agency is now being moved under the State Department. They're kind of reforming its operations as we speak, and it could serve a different mission going forward through this. Now, Elon Musk has been taken to X to highlight the many, many examples of what U.S. taxpayer dollars have been spent on through USAID. I mean, I'll just give you an example. One where he commented, mind-blowing, allegedly shows that USAID and others had sent over $40 million to scientists, guess where? Wuhan, China. To do what? Well, to work on bat coronavirus emergence. Interesting. Now, Mike Benz, executive director of the Foundation for Freedom Online, noted the impact of the information release, and he said on X, quote, "What you will quickly find as you enter the amazing USAID vortex of despair is that virtually every powerful political and financial motor of American society that promotes and lobbies for USAID is either directly on USAID's payroll, works at a place that is, or his/her donors do," suggesting, of course, that USAID seems to be giving money to people who are defending it, and it's kind of its own little nexus. Now, Benz also noted that even the campaigns of, light-on-crime prosecutors, call them the Soros DAs and stuff, it wasn't just money from Soros, a lot of it was money from USAID. It turns out they're one of the big funders of these individuals. Although he noted a common pattern, which is this. Oftentimes it seems the money goes through other organizations. It goes to one organization first, your taxpayer dollars, and then USAID gives that money to, a nonprofit. That nonprofit then backs the various campaigns and social movements like these. And so it kind of goes through a two-stage process, meaning it's not direct in often case. Now, alerts also went out, notably, telling USAID workers to stay home as Elon Musk moved to investigate the organization. Fox News said this. It says, U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID staffers, were told in an email that its Washington headquarters would be closed to staffers Monday, two sources confirmed to Fox News Digital. It says some staffers reported getting locked out of the USAID computer system overnight, according to the Associated Press, and people who remained in the system got emails stating that, quote, at the direction of agency leadership, the headquarters facility, quote, will be closed to agency personnel on Monday, February 3rd. And notes that Elon Musk, who is spearheading the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE effort, has said during an X Spaces conversation that President Donald Trump agreed that USAID, which distributes humanitarian development and security assistance across the world, should be shut down. And the big argument is, well, they're not really giving government assistance. They're funding things like a lot of, just like far left policy type stuff. A lot of stuff around the LGBTQ plus movement and so on all around the world, and other things along those lines, suggesting, of course, that maybe this is not what we thought we were spending our money on. Now, on this point, it appears that USAID is not shutting down, despite that statement. Instead, it looks like it's being wrapped up in the State Department. They're now merging it with the State Department, giving it some additional oversight. And as of now, it does look like it's facing big changes at the very least. Some people might be fired from it. A lot of money might get cut. We'll see. And on that note, it may now be working on very different initiatives going forward. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has now been placed as the acting director of USAID, meaning, of course, this has now gone through. And he said in a recent press event in El Salvador that under his new leadership, the functions of USAID will start being more in line with the foreign policies of the State Department. Watch.
I'm the acting director of USAID. I've delegated that authority to someone, but I stay in touch with him. And again, our goal was to go in and align our foreign aid to the national interest. But if you go to mission after mission and embassy after embassy around the world, you will often find that in many cases, USAID is involved in programs that run counter to what we're trying to do in our national strategy with that country or with that region. That cannot continue. USAID is not an independent, non-governmental entity. It is an entity that spends taxpayer dollars, and it needs to spend it, as the statute says, in alignment with the policy directives that they get from the Secretary of State, the National Security Council, and the President.
Now, when it comes to USAID and all these moves taking place, this is not just a one-way street. Democrats are pushing back very, very hard against it. They're even trying right now, they're even making statements saying they're going to use everything they possibly can to try to stop Elon Musk. And the main argument they have is that Elon Musk, with the Doge Department investigating these organizations, he was not elected or confirmed through a Senate vote, and he's been given pretty broad powers to investigate organizations of our government, USAID, a lot of government payments and other things. And he's kind of making a lot of them look bad because he's exposing documents and information on them. Now, several Democrat representatives spoke about this in an event outside the USAID headquarters. This is Representative Jamie Raskin on this.
Elon Musk, you didn't create USAID. The United States Congress did for the American people. And just like Elon Musk did not create USAID, he doesn't have the power to destroy it. And who's going to stop him? We are. We're going to stop him.
This is just part of the big picture. The investigations into U.S. spending, they don't end at USAID. In fact, Elon Musk is kind of charging forward, even with that access going to other things. Elon Musk, through the Doge Department, has also now gained access to the Treasury Department payment system and their data. And this is according to people who spoke anonymously. This is the Washington Post on this. Here's what it says. It says, on Friday, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent approved access to the Treasury's payment system for a team led by Tom Krause, a Silicon Valley executive working in concert with Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, the People said. And it said David A. Lebrick, who served in non-political roles at Treasury for several decades and had been the acting secretary before Bessent's confirmation, had refused to turn over access to Musk's surrogates. People familiar with the situation told the Washington Post, and it notes that Trump officials placed Lebrick on administrative leave because he tried blocking Musk, apparently. And then he announced his retirement Friday in an email to colleagues, meaning that attempted blockade may have come to an end. Now, it says that spokespeople for the Treasury and Doge declined to comment. The sensitive system run by the Bureau of Fiscal Service control the flow of more than $6 trillion annually. Tens of millions of people across the country rely on the systems. And it says they are responsible for paying Social Security and Medicare benefits, salaries for federal personnel, payments to government contractors and grant recipients, and tax refunds, among tens of thousands of other functions. And Elon Musk's team is now able to sift through all that. Now, Trump weighed in on this as well while he was just signing an executive order to create a new sovereign wealth fund for the United States. Trump said this.
Mr. President, why is it important for Elon Musk to have access to the payment systems at Treasury?
Well, he's got access only to letting people go that he thinks are no good if we agree with him. And it's only if we agree with him. He's a very talented guy from the standpoint of management and costs. And we put him in charge of seeing what he can do with certain groups and certain numbers. Some of the numbers are horrible, what he's found. Think of it, $100 million on condoms to Hamas. Condoms to Hamas. and many other things that are frankly even more ridiculous. And they're finding tremendous waste, really waste more than anything else, I think you could say.
Briefly on that, because news is moving very fast right now. Slight tangent. What Trump was signing when he made that statement was an executive order to direct the U.S. Treasury and Commerce Departments to create a sovereign wealth fund. And basically, this is a new state-owned investment fund that can decide how to spend money from things like a government surplus or from, money gained from foreign currency operations like tariffs maybe, and things like that. He's floating that one of its first moves could be this purchase of TikTok. He wants to have the U.S. government buy TikTok if he can get the CCP to fold on the sale, because they're kind of blocking it right now. But briefly on that as well, also, Trump is expected to pull the U.S. out of the United Nations Human Rights Council. This would stop the funding to UNHCR also. And it's not just the UNHCR. Trump is also pulling funding from UNRWA, which is the United Nations group that works on services for people in Gaza, and that has been accused of having ties to terrorism. In fact, several UNRWA individuals were involved in the October 7th attack. So that's now over, at least when it comes to them getting money from us. But we'll see what happens. Trump did pull the U.S. out of the UN Human Rights Council in his first term in office, and we're, of course, back in. At least we were. But back to the investigations now being carried out by the Doge Department. These investigations are bringing attention to the whole nexus of activist organizations, news outlets, there's even news outlets on this, and public figures who are recipients of taxpayer money. We're giving them our money. And these individuals, while getting our money, are pushing various partisan agendas. For example, even some of the news outlets were getting taxpayer dollars while running investigations on members of Trump's team. Suggesting, of course, that some of the politicized attacks may have been funded by our own taxes. At least that's the accusation right now. The Trump administration looks poised to eliminate a lot of that funding, or at least change what the money's going to. We'll see where it goes. Democrats are looking to challenge those attempts. They're very strongly trying to stop Elon Musk right now, saying they're going to do everything they can to stop him. And we'll very likely see a lot of back and forth with this as well. And guess what? It gets even bigger. In addition to all of this, there's some backlash against Elon Musk and the Doge Department. And some of this is resulting in death threats and also possibilities of legal prosecutions of those individuals. First off, Elon Musk raised this point on X. He pointed to a collage of screenshots of death threats posted by a lot of people on Reddit. And it's not even limited to just this. There's tons of them. And he said, quote, they have broken the law, suggesting by making death threats against him and his team, people are violating American law. Now, in response to that, United States Attorney Edward Martin issued an open letter to Elon Musk saying, quote, we will not tolerate threats against Doge workers or law breaking by the disgruntled. And let me show you the official letter he sent to Elon Musk. He said this, quote, let me assure you of this. We will pursue any and all legal action against anyone who impedes your work, again, the Doge Department, or threatens your people. He said, we will not act like the previous administration looked the other way as the Antifa and BLM rioters, as well as thugs with guns, trashed our capital city. He said, we will protect Doge and other works no matter what. And the letter goes on to note a recent case that was brought out. Edward Martin states, quote, late last week, we indicted an economist who worked at the Fed, meaning the Federal Reserve, for economic espionage for the communist Chinese. He said, please be very aware that there are those who are acting against our American people in every way. Refer to us any questionable conduct or details that you find or notice. And he adds to Elon Musk, quote, please keep in touch. On the point of that, of the former Federal Reserve employee who was just arrested, actually just recently, that individual was John Harold Rogers. According to the Justice Department on January 31st, he was arrested today on charges that he conspired to steal Federal Reserve trade secrets for the benefit of the People's Republic of China, the Chinese regime. And it adds that China holds a large amount of U.S. foreign debt, approximately $816 billion as of October 2024. And the data that Rogers, being accused at least, shared with his co-conspirators could allow China to manipulate the U.S. market in a manner similar to insider trading. Gaining advanced knowledge of U.S. economic policy, including advanced knowledge of changes to the federal funds rate, could provide China with an advantage when selling or buying U.S. bonds or securities. Now, look, in light of all of this, it seems that the warning from the U.S. Attorney's Office, right, Edward Martin, is that not only are they looking at any threats against the Doge Department or any efforts to block its investigations, suggesting that even these individuals saying we will do everything we can to stop you, those people may also be investigated. Some of those people blocking this, inhibiting, the actions of a government agency, or blocking even law enforcement activity. Anything they're doing, anything fishy that gets discovered through the investigations themselves, all of this could result in criminal actions, right? These people could face criminal charges. And in fact, Edward Martin had followed up that statement, that open letter to Elon Musk, by saying they're now working with the Justice Department and the FBI to actually criminally investigate some of what's happening right now. Suggesting, of course, not only the death threats, but even the efforts to block their activities and their investigations. That said, folks, thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to hit the like button. It does help us. Also, please share this episode. And that said, I'll see you again tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. As always, please take care of yourselves, stay informed, and stay free. Thank you.